Hi folks, welcome to Testing Hacks. Hey, and then are you worried of how to get a job as a software tester? And you're not sure of how the resume should look like? Don't worry, we are here to help you with how to create a professional resume. To do that, we have to start doing it from the scratch. So let's start off by creating a well-versed resume. Firstly, to eye grab one's attention, let's make the points to remember while creating a resume. And the very first point is to create a header. Header could be either on the right portion of the page or else it can be on the left portion of the page. So you have to write your full name, email address, as well as the phone number. Either it can be on the right side or the left corner. Okay. And also another thing you have to keep in mind is a resume should not be more than 2 pages. Some people can create a resume like more than 3 to 4 pages. It is not a Word document. You have to have a brief, brief description of what you are. Okay, so don't create any resumes more than 3 4 pages. Okay. And the second point is write a clear summary. Mention about the work experience you possess and why are you looking for a change and how do you fit into the role you are applying to. So, in this particular criteria, you have to, picturize what you are about. Okay, for what you are looking for and how experience you have, how much experience do you possess, or else how many in a brief, just brief about yourself. How do you brief about yourself? You'll just talk about how many years of experience you have, and you're looking for a challenging role, right? Compared to the previous one, you're seeing looking at a challenging job, so that you can mention. And thirdly, list your skill set and experience. In this section, mention your skills, your strength, your roles performed by the technologies. Also mention the tools that you have used. If you have already used any tools, saying that Microsoft SQL Server, or you might have used any of the ALM or the QTest management, sorry, the test management tools, like that, you can mention all your experience. Your Suppose if you are a manual tester, so that you can mention you can perform functional testing, okay, black box testing, which are this both are the same, as well as you can mention you can either perform regression testing. So all these are the skills when it comes to manual testing. And also do mention all your strength. And if you are an experienced person, you should be having some previous experience, what roles you are performing and what are the activities you are performing. So just give a brief overview of it. And next is projects you worked on. Mention the project and the description of what project is about and your roles and responsibilities in that project. Also mention the tools and technology that you used as part of the project. So first thing is you have to describe your project. Very first thing is what the project is about and just describe what is the project. And next thing is mention the roles and responsibilities. Suppose if you are an QA manual tester, you can mention saying that, so I was preparing the test cases and then execution of the test cases, as well as the tools whichever you used. You have to mention the tools as well. Suppose if you are using a test management tool as in Jira, as well as ALM, QTest, any of them you can mention. And also, when it comes to tools, you can also mention the other tools. Suppose if you are using Microsoft SQL Server, you can mention that. So this is about in this section, just mention all the topics whichever is related to the projects you have already worked on. Suppose if you're a fresher, you can just mention about the project you have done in your final semester. Okay, so just mention about the project that you have done and which language you had used. So all those description is just enough. Here comes the next section, which is educational details. Include all your education details in the particular table format. Mention all your information like graduation details, 10 plus 2 details, and city you studied. You can also include your percentage here. Okay, so you have got the brief. What things you have to mention in this particular section? You have to mention all of the things in a grid. Make sure that you have presented it in a grid format. Next, you can list the awards or the certifications that you have received. In this section, include the awards you received for your for your performance. Suppose if you're an experienced, you might have already got some of the awards. Say that you're a best fresher, or else you're a best performer. Okay, but when it comes to fresher, you need not to mention any of the awards such as this kind of awards, or else include the technical certification that you have done. For example, it can be ISTQB or else the TOSCA. If you're an experienced, you might have done some of the certifications, but the ISTQB is best if you want to get into software testing industry. Then better to perform, better to have ISTQB certification. And next is personal interest or hobbies. List your personal interest and hobbies. It can be anything. For example, if you're good at programming, you can write you are coder or you are good at coding. And also, if you have any other curricular hobbies like singing, you can mention that, as well as if you're traveling. If you're good at traveling, you can just mention whatever hobbies you possess. Okay. And finally, what we have is the personal details. Mention your personal details. In this section, just mention your name, your place, gender, nationality, marital status, languages known. So such kind of personal details. You can either mention your parents' name. So all these information you can mention it in the personal details. And with this, it creates a crisp and clear resume. Here is one of the sample resume format that I have prepared for you. So also I will provide the link. You can access the same website, and you can, through online itself, you can prepare lot of resumes nowadays. For that, okay. First thing is, just mention your name and what is your current role if you're an experienced, or else you can leave this blank. And see, and also a brief description. Say that a quality assurance engineer with 3 years of experience into manual testing, database testing, and ETL testing. Worked on agile methodology with great attention to detail and commitment to developing and implementing continuous improvement initiatives. Looking for a change that helps me to develop my skills with same passion, help the team to get best of my knowledge. So this is one of the simple and clean and crisp description. If you are a fresher, you can mention so what skills you possess and why you are looking for a software testing job, and what else you can give if you join to the company in a small, so you are a quick learner or what kind of, that kind of qualities you can mention in the summary itself. Okay. And the mandatory thing is you have to mention your phone number and email address. That is one of the mandatory thing. Okay, don't forget it. So along with that, we have something like work experience. Okay, so if you're an experienced, you can write the present role whatever you have in your current organization and mention your organization name. And all these details, we have it in a default template. So I'll just provide the link to that website, so in my description box. Please do and check out that particular website. It has lot of templates. Okay. And this is like what kind of activities that were performed as part of this project. So analyzing the requirement, write the test case, prepare the test plan. So all these are the activities that were being performed. Suppose if you're a fresher, you will not be having any work experience, so what you can do is you can add your projects that you have performed. you know, in your last semester, in the final semester, whatever the project you will be performing, right, you will be doing, right, so you can just mention that. And when it comes to education, so here is kind of um, this, with this template you can have it like this. Okay, if you are doing it in your word format and all, just be sure that you are mentioning it in all those details in a grid. Okay, so that it will be clear and it will be easy, eyes grabbing, that will make the person's eyes grabbing into such details easily. Okay, and do mention your PUC, and if you have, if you can, you know mention about your 10th also, you can mention about it, and how much ever the uh, qualification you have, you can mention that. Skills, when it comes to skills, you have to mention what kind of testing you know. So here you can go ahead with any of the skills you have. Okay, if you are good at some PPT presentation, anything you can mention it as your skill. But when it comes to freshers, right, so you will not be having so many exposure to these kind of testings. But if you have undergone any trainings through some training centers, then you would be having some idea. So you can mention about the your skills you have, like graphic designing, if you possess something like that, graphic designing, or else the Excel formatting, PPT presentation. So all these skills you can mention as a fresher. Okay, anyway, for experience it, that there will be something at least to mention as a skill. Even they can mention if they're good at mainframe testing or SOAP UI testing, REST testing, anything. So they can mention in the skills. And next, coming to the personal details. So personal detail is nothing but the information about yourself. Firstly, you can mention your name. Either you can discard that name since you have already mentioned on the top of the resume, and also the date of birth, and whatever the things you think that you can provide the details. You can just go ahead and enter those personal details, though it is not mandatory, but you can have it. You can write how many people are there in your house. So all those details also sometimes that works sometimes. So, and then awards and certification. Okay, and then what kind of award you have got, you can mention that, or else any certification that you have done, you can mention that. Even for freshers also, they would have done some kind of certifications, so they can mention those certification. And then uh, languages known, so you can uh, mention the languages which you know. It can be anything: English, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, or any languages you know, right? You can just mention those languages. And finally, coming to the interest and hobbies. Interest or hobbies, here you can mention as many hobbies you have, right? It can be anything. If you have any particular if you are interested in doing something, you're a rider or something, you can mention whatever you have. And one another thing, what I want to tell you is, and it is also an important tip. Okay, when you present this kind of resume to the HR, all the details will be verified, and finally it goes to the hand of a technical manager. So when it comes to technical manager, he will not be knowing what what are your positives and negatives, and he will not be knowing anything about you. So what you have to make sure is, whatever you have mentioned in your resume, it should be perfectly matching. So anything if they pick from the resume, you should be in a position to answer that. That's where you can crack your interviews. So this is one of the bonus tip for you guys. So keep supporting. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please do like, share. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.